This is TheJesseRay with the Growth House podcast. I'm here with my friend Kevin Choe. Kevin, I appreciate you being here, man.
Thank you for having me here.
Yes, we're here at the Growth House, as you can tell from the sign in the back. So, Kevin,
Yes.
before we go back, I want to know your story.
Yeah.
But first, where are you at right now? Obviously, you're traveling all over. You're speaking. You're getting the content game up.
Right.
But like as a portfolio, you're in real estate, SubTo. Kind of break down where you're at right now.
Just this year, I've done over almost 70 transactions in my entire career. I've done over 100 plus creative finance transactions. And in terms of my real estate portfolio, I am closing on my 10th house today or tomorrow down in Maricopa, Arizona. And all of them are midterm rentals.
And these, you've never owned a house before this year. So these are 10 in like the last what?
Last, 10 months, 9 months.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And you said over 100 creative.
Yeah.
Meaning, you want to just break down SubTo for, people listening?
Yeah, so like the majority of not majority, every single property that I have ever bought in my life, I actually bought it without any of the banks involved or any of my W-2 or any of my credit. And what I do, the way I buy these houses is I actually take over somebody else's existing mortgage payment. So let's just say like this house, you have a $300,000 mortgage. I come in and say, hey, can I buy your house? I'll give you down payment, and I take over the existing loan that's already on there. And for those of you guys that might be wondering, why would anybody do this? Well, number one, if I take over somebody else's mortgage payment, I can take advantage of the low interest rate that's already on there versus getting 8% today.
Absolutely. What about the people on the other side that are looking? What kind of situations are they typically in? Are they about to get foreclosed on? So you're basically actually doing them a good deed by helping them out.
Yeah. So a lot of the homeowners that I work with, a few of them are in foreclosure. So like they're about to lose the house to a bank, and they're about to have a foreclosure on their credit for the next 7 years. So what I say is, hey, instead of you losing the house entirely, I'll give you a little bit of cash in your pocket, and I'll catch up all your back payments, and I'll take over the mortgage payment. I'll pay it every single month, and so that you don't have to get foreclosure on your credit and hurt your credit. Matter of fact, this will better help you out with your credit because I'm now making mortgage payments for you.
That's amazing. Win-win for everyone.
Of course, always.
All right, let's take a step back. Now that people know where you're at,
Yeah.
they know you're a beast in real estate.
Yeah.
So from California, is that correct?
From California, yes.
Okay. Grew up there?
I grew up in Korea, and then I grew up in Cali.
Okay. When did you move to the States?
I moved when I was 10.
10?
Yep.
And then what area of Cali?
Moved around a lot. Buena Park, Irvine, Garden Grove, all sorts of places.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was high school like for you? Because, how old are you right now?
I'm 23.
This guy's 23, man. That's step I gave up.
Yeah, that's right. You got to get younger. That's
yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Okay, so 23, very ambitious, crushing it. What were you like in high school?
Surprisingly, I was a really good student.
Yeah.
I graduated with almost a perfect GPA, 4.0. I graduated with a 3.85 GPA, and I was really good in school. I wasn't like I didn't excel in school necessarily, but I hated it. I hated every single second of me being in school because all I wanted to do was like, okay, what can I do? What else can I do except going to school?
Yeah.
And I've always just and for me, I've always wanted to do something more than that. So, like as soon as I could get my license, I got my license. As soon as I could work, I was working. And then like my school academic, was, I did just enough to keep my parents happy.
Mm-hmm. So for me, similar, like just growing up, I think I was 5 years old and I was like reselling Pokemon cards, baseball cards.
Wow.
Like I just had that entrepreneurial drive.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, you can't really be taught that at that age.
No.
So I think it was just natural for me. What were you like at that age? Were you also doing that, or high school? Did you have a side hustle that you're trying to do?
No, up until my high school, even after I graduated, I never really had a business. I was working at a Korean barbecue restaurant at that time, and I was also working at a sushi spot. Like I had a W-2 job, and that's because that's all I knew what to do. Mm-hmm. But looking back at it, I worked in I worked in my Korean barbecue spot for 4 months. I worked at a sushi spot for 2 months, and then I also had a part-time job at boba shop, like a coffee shop.
Yeah.
For like I worked there for maybe 5 different times, and the reason why I quit quit every single one of them so quick was because, dude, like I feel like I mastered this way too early. You know, like when you know when you first go through training, like you know, it may take you like 2-3 shifts to learn how to learn the ropes, and within like the first month you know what your job is, right. And I feel like there's nothing more for me to learn. I'm like, why am I here? So I quit, and then I got a different job, and that's when I realized, like, hey, I'm not meant to like stay at the same spot for more than 6 months at a time.
Mm-hmm. So what was the last job you worked?
That was the boba shop.
The boba shop.
Yeah, I was there for like literally 5 shifts, and I quit. Like, I'm like, dude, I can't do this anymore.
So you weren't there for the paycheck, or were you just also bored?
I wasn't poor. Like my parents gave me a little bit of money on the side. I never had to work in high school. But I just worked because, like, number one, I wanted to get out of school. Yeah. But number two, I was like, I just want to see like what I can do in terms of my capabilities.
Yeah. Yeah, I said bored, not poor.
Yeah, bored. Yeah.
Bored. So you were just bored?
Yeah, I was just bored.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. So obviously Pace played a big, role in your life. Uh-huh. Is that how you got into real estate, or?
No, I didn't get into real estate up until like, my freshman year of college year, because I ended up not getting into any of the schools that I applied for. And I was attending a community college, and like I went there for like a couple weeks. And I was like, dude, I can't see myself doing this for another 4 years. Yeah. There's no way. I finished 4 years of high school. I can't do another 4 years of college. This is just way too boring. So what I did was I went online to see what I could do without a college degree, and I stumbled across ATM business. Okay. Yeah, not many people know about this. But I had so like, the money machine where you put your card in, you get your money back. Yeah. I used to that was my very first business straight out of high school, and that was when I was 19 or 20. Mm-hmm. And I did that for I did that for maybe 7 months. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, dude, I already know how this system works. I'm gonna go try something else.
Really? Was it profitable? Were you making
money? It was profitable. Yeah. I mean, this was Cali. Like, this was right when pandemic started. Mm-hmm. So like, it would have been so much more profitable, but like nobody was going outside, and it was at a gas station. And I'm like, dude, like, I mean, I'm making $300-400 a month on this like net, right? Because I don't have any overhead. And I'm like, I can see myself doing more, and I know I could do more at this point, but I just don't want to do more. Yeah, I want to do something else, and that's when I like browsed around YouTube again, and I found how to get into real estate, and that's when that's kind of when I ran into Pace.
Okay, walk me through. So you're on YouTube. Yeah, you're searching like different ways to make money.
Yeah, different ways to make money. So funny enough is I actually, like, while I was doing the ATM business, I was also looking to get into real estate. So I was taking my real estate courses to get my license test. And as soon as I got my license test, like the week that I passed my license test, I run into Max Maxwell's wholesaling video. I'm like, this is so much better. Like, you don't have to depend on somebody to sell you the house, or you don't have to depend on somebody to buy the house for you to make a living. Like, you're in complete control over it. So what I did was, I would, and then at that point I was listening to so much podcasts about real estate wholesaling, and ran into Wholesaling Inc. podcast, and I signed up for a different coach about wholesaling. But then that mentorship ended after 6 months, and then I'm like, okay, what other mentorships can I get into in real estate? And that's when I found Pace. So Pace wasn't my very first mentor. He was my second mentor.
He was your second mentor.
Yeah.
So for someone at that age, and I know a lot of people out here listening are like, is it worth it to get a coach? For me, absolutely. You have the right coach, it just expedites your growth. You get a pay to skip all the lessons of time and money that someone else already went through.
100%.
How did you have that mentality at such a young age? I think I was like 24 when I hired my first coach.
Oh, really? For me, I just felt like every YouTube video that I watched, it's like they wouldn't give you the whole thing. So like they would always give you enough just to get you intrigued, but then they would always pull back on what you can actually learn. So like, hey, if you want to learn more about this, go sign up for my coaching. I'm like, oh my God, I was 21 at that time. I literally had no money. But then I knew at that point, because there was no way I was gonna go through all those YouTube videos that's out there, try to puzzle pieces together. I'd rather have a coach give me the footprint, like, hey, this is what you need. After this, do this, step 3, step 4, step 5. And I wanted that in like a shortcut. And I mean, it's worked for me so far.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think there's a model really going out right now where it says give your best stuff away for free. I think even Pace does this, but sell the implementation and then sell the community.
Oh, really? Oh, that's good. That's really good.
So that's kind of what I've been seeing. I'm like, wow, that model makes sense. Because the trust is there once you're like, dang, this guy just giving away free stuff. Imagine what's behind that paywall.
Oh, 100%.
So that's awesome. So, okay, so you get your first coach, you start doing these courses, and then you see Pace's ad, and then what happens?
And then I'm like, actually, I wasn't even really interested in Pace's stuff. The only reason I joined Pace's mentorship, and it's, I call it the community now, is because that was the only mentorship that wouldn't kick you out after 6 months. Because if I had joined any other mentorship, I have to go to find different mentorship after 6 months. I have to spend another $5,000, spend another $10,000.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just can't do this anymore. So that was a one-time fee. I never paid any more money to them. And then I was like, and that's what sold me. It's not even the creative finance. I had no clue about creative finance.
Yeah. So you were what, 19, 20 when you got plugged in?
I was 20.
You were 20. Okay.
Yeah.
Walk me through that first year, because I'm sure you probably bought 20 houses and closed 50 deals that first year, right?
No, absolutely not. No. I think my first year I did maybe like 7 deals, 8 deals. And so the funny enough is, like, the first coach that I ever hired, this coach was like, you need to go pay for all these softwares, and you need to do, you need to send out 100 messages to these homeowners every single day. And I look back at it now, it's like, they were selling on their affiliate and whatnot, but that never worked. I spent over $2,500 on marketing just to implement what my first coach told me. I'm like, I didn't get any deal. And then the moment I got into SubTo and Pace was telling me, hey, Pace was teaching people, hey, what you need to do is you need to go, figure out like how to do creative deals. And at that point, I didn't even know what creative deal was. So figure out how to do creative deals and like help other people in the newer in the industry, like that are focusing on these cash deals to and convert their leads. So that also that's kind of how I got started with my creative finance side of things. Is like I would reach out to them and say, hey, if you have any homeowners that wants too much money for their houses, reach out to me and I can help you out. And then people will start reaching out, hey, these homeowners, they want too much money, they want whatever, and then I'll hop on the phone call with them. Didn't spend any money on leads, and it just got brought to me, and that's how I started doing my first few deals in SubTo.
That's amazing. Okay, I want to break some things down. And I want to dive more into like how you're building your team to get so much deal flow right now.
Yeah.
So a couple things you mentioned, you paid for different courses, you paid for different masterminds, different coaches, you even spent thousands of dollars, it sounds like, on marketing within these programs.
Right.
Someone out here is like, man, if I'm not making money my first 6 months, it doesn't work. Don't you hear that often? I hear that all the time.
100%.
So what's your mentality? Why were you like, no, I still believe in this? What was that hope or light at the end of the tunnel where you can lose thousands of dollars, which I think is an investment, it's not a loss. Why keep going?
I mean, the reason why you keep going is because it has been proven by so many other people, right? Like I was listening to a podcast where back in the day, where people thought running a less than 4 minute mile or something was impossible until somebody broke it. Yeah. And then that year that they broke it, there was like another 10, 20 people that broke that under 4 minute mile. And I saw the results that people had, it's not that real estate is, now it's easier for me to get a deal. I can grab it. If I wanted the deal, I can, do it in about a week. But then, when you don't know anything, it's really hard for you to get a deal because number one, you have a mindset belief on, hey, is this even possible? And number two, it's like, you don't know what to say. You don't know what, who to call and there's so many like lack of knowledge. Yeah. But for me, the number one reason why I kept going was because I knew this was going to work. And this was the only option for me to work. This was the only option, or else I had to go back to school or move, I had to go back to school or, to figure something out. And I knew real estate was what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Back was against the wall. You had to make it happen.
Back was truly against the wall. And I didn't have any plan B. And I think that's what allowed me to actually push through.
I love that. There's a quote out there that says, what's your plan B? Do my plan A better.
I love it. Do your plan. Wait, say it again.
They say, what's your plan B? Yeah. Do my plan A better.
Do my plan A better. Yeah. And I think it's actually, I think if you have a plan B, it's more detrimental, I think a lot of people that don't really, necessarily have so much success in real estate are the people that have like very comfortable jobs. You know, I see it all the time. You know, like
talk about that. It's so true.
Yeah, because I have people that are like, you know, and this is not to like encourage anybody to quit their jobs, you know. But for me, when I was 20, I didn't have any money, so I could play and I was living with my parents, so I could play a way more aggressive game, knowing if something else came, you know, fell through, I could rely back on my parents. But for me, for the people that don't really, you know, succeed in real estate are the people that's like, okay, if this doesn't work, I mean, at least I got a full-time job I can always go back to.
Right.
And then they never really have that hunger and drive.
That's so true. Like, I was actually listening to a podcast, Brian Lubin, Action Academy podcast, love it. And he was talking about what's like the worst case scenario if you go out and like try real estate. Yeah. You're living your worst case scenario if you have a job right now.
Right. Well, 100%.
Like, okay, what happens if it doesn't work? Well, you always got a job. You can find a job somewhere. Right. So, yeah, it's so true.
I mean, and also I want to emphasize the community aspect of it, because right now we're at the Growth House. We're at the house of people. You got 6 bedrooms in this house, right? So you got 6 bedrooms in that, and you know, a lot of them, you know, have their own business or their startups. But when you have community of people that's like actively, you know, trying to get, you know, be more successful in their field, it's like, dude, like there's no way for you to not succeed, right? Like for me, when I moved to Arizona, everybody in Arizona was doing lots and lots and lots of deals. So for me, that was I had to fit in, or else I'm like, if I don't do deals, then I don't even have a friend group.
It's a positive peer pressure.
It's a peer pressure, very positive peer pressure.
It's so true, man. Talk to me about that. Like, just dive in, because I know even the guys you hang out with, Gage and a couple of other guys that I've met, they're like, you guys all surround yourself with like-minded people. Yeah. That's actually our motto, is you become who you surround yourself with. Right.
So we have a group chat, and it's every, you know, and not everybody really contributes to it. I don't really contribute to it a lot, but every morning it's everybody that we know in Arizona, and everybody says, hey, what are your wins today? What are your lessons that you learned today? What are something that you can implement that you can start implementing, knowing what you learned today? And everybody's like, you know what? Like I knocked on my very first door, and you know nobody was home. Okay, perfect. Yeah. You don't have to get a deal every single time that you knock on the doors. In fact, if you got a deal every single time you knocked on the door, it's probably more detrimental. But then we have this group chat, and everybody's sharing their wins. Everybody's sharing their gratitudes. Hey, I just knocked on the door, and you know I got cussed out. Yeah. Like everybody's like, good job, dude. That was so great, dude. Yeah. Let's get another F word. Yeah. You know, and it becomes not. It doesn't. Now it becomes more of a fun game. You know, like when I first started in real estate, I'll go knocking on doors with my friends, and it used to be so nerve wracking. I'm like, dude, I can't get it, dude. What if they like yell at me, or what if they like pull out a gun, or what if everything? Yeah. And they're like, dude, it's just a fun game. If they don't like it, then you move on to somebody else. But at the end of the day, you either get a lead, or you either learn something, and you know, I love that. You always win.
I love that. Yeah, gamify. Whatever you're doing, try to gamify it.
Gamify it, yes.
One who does that, and kind of like, especially in real estate, one of my best friends out here is Zachary Keeps. Yeah. You know Zach? Yeah. He kind of taught me, like, no matter where you're at success-wise, the dude just has fun. You can just tell. He's always just having fun. Yeah. And at first, when I got into real estate, I was all stiff. Like, I got to say the right word. I got to, like, be someone I'm not. Yeah. But then watching someone super successful just be themselves and dominate, it kind of led me to realize that I could do the same, just be myself. And I don't know, it just kind of reminded me of someone like that. Yeah. That's literally doing it for the love of the game, and he's not taking himself too serious. And you can be successful doing that.
He has the best energy I've ever seen from anybody.
Actually, we probably should have done the things that we usually do before our podcast. Anytime before we get on live or podcast, me and Zach, we drop down and do 50 push-ups.
Oh my gosh.
That's just who he is.
That'll get you in the zone.
I know, right? But I want to go back because I think it's so important. Community, obviously, that's something that I believe. I didn't really have a community or a strong friend circle back in Portland. But once I came out here, similar to you, I'm like, I'm getting plugged in. I'm surrounding myself with like-minded people. Right. It helps so much. How do people find community? How do people find those type of friends?
Ooh, I think you have. I mean, there's so many. Number one, emphasize, there's so many different types of communities there are, right? Like you were talking about the positive peer pressure. You can find a community of, weed smokers. You can find a community of people that just all they do is, lay on their couches and watch TV. Like that's a community. But number one, you have to identify what kind of community you want to be part of. And for both of us, we're part of many different communities. I'm part of this. I'm part of real estate community that do a lot of creative finance deals. I'm part of real estate community that buys a lot of houses. And I think the best way for you to find a community is you have to pay for it. I think that's my only opinion. That's my personal opinion, because when you find a just random community that everybody's in, you don't see that commitment anywhere. So
true. What is it? What's the quote? Like if you pay attention.
Yeah, exactly. You pay attention.
Just the people in that community, if they're paying, they're serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about that more, because it's so true.
Yeah. So I just paid a social media coach $10,000, and then I'll be paying for his services for the next 6 months for $20,000.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the end of the day, could I eventually learn everything by myself and take 2 years? I mean, the answer is probably yes. But the reason why I pay for that's why the reason why I paid $30,000 is because this coach has community of people that are focusing on social media. So now it's like I can bounce ideas back and forth. Hey, like, you want to collaborate? You want to get on my podcast? And those are the things that you would. It's harder to see when you're in a free group of people. So true. Also, when someone's got $10,000 and $20,000, it's like their commitment. Like, hey, I'm committing my money into this because I want to be. I'm so serious about this. My venture.
So true. I think even getting into these masterminds, I paid thousands of dollars even for like a one-day event, and it's not so much what I'm going to learn. It's more so just helping my mindset and my own belief system. For me, if I'm getting around people that are making 7, 8, 9 figures, and I'm hanging out with them, especially on a more intimate level, like just in a circle at dinner, I'm seeing they're no different than us.
They're no different, no.
And then they're just been in the game longer.
100%.
And they just have other access connections. Like, information's free.
Right.
But the belief level that transpires through this being on like a one-on-one or small group setting and interacting with these people, I think that's where the real value for me has been. Realizing like, oh man, I do have limiting beliefs, but watching this person who's now my friend crush it, it gives me the belief if he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. One of the best compliments that I gotten recently was on my YouTube, I have a lot of videos of me just cold calling these agents and the sellers. And for me, it's like so normal. Like if you put me on the phone with a seller right now, I'll be able to, hop on the phone call and not be nervous. But when people first start out, they get nervous. They don't know what to say. And when people watch my video, they're like, they see that I'm actively, making these calls, and none of them is scripted. And one of the best compliments I've ever gotten was, hey, I watched all your videos about you cold calling these agents, and because of you, I got my first deal under contract. Right. Like, this person didn't pay, whatever. Totally. I don't even have anything to sell. But when somebody watches you and, like active and, implements what you do, and they get a deal, it's like, this is the best thing in the world.
100%. And you just side note, but like people like Kevin, people like Pace, people that actually, you see them doing what they say they can do.
Right.
Those are the people you want to join their mastermind, not the people that just give you some fluffy mindset stuff.
Yeah.
And let's say they're a real estate expert. How many walkthroughs have you seen them do? How many deals have you actually seen them close?
Right.
Like, that's how I can kind of tell. Because let's be honest, we've both seen behind the curtain. We're like,
oh yeah,
this follower count and this money that you say you're making doesn't really add up.
It doesn't add up. No.
So what's your let's talk about that, because we're talking about people investing in themselves, going to these masterminds. Obviously, we're a part of certain ones, but we want you to find the ones that work for you. How do you tell like this person's legit?
The biggest way for you to find this person is legit is by asking people around, right? So like if people were to ask, hey, like Kevin, like I heard that Jesse, like he has this, this thing, it's a growth house. Like where everybody, like entrepreneurs, they like rent out a room and like everybody's encouraging and whatnot. Like, is that worth it? And I'll say, yeah, that's worth it. And now it's like, because this person got a third party validation saying, hey, Jesse's growth house is actually worth investment. Like that person has now trust in your product. So for me, like if I were to join, and even like my social media coach, I joined my social media coach's coaching program because I've heard so many good things about it from other people. Because if you ask that person that has a product, they're most likely than not, they're going to try to sell you on that product. But when that person doesn't even, try to sell you on the product, but everybody else around that has purchased a product is selling you on it, that's a good product. So I think that's the biggest way for you to vet somebody.
So good. Yeah. Testimonials, not just a video testimonial. Hey, can I talk to one of your people?
Right.
What have you done? What have you learned from them? I think that's so good. And also like trusted sources.
Right.
I love that. Let's dive back into your story.
Yeah.
So you try the courses, you're spending thousands of dollars, nothing's really working. You're like, okay. You see Pace. You don't know anything about creative finance at this point.
Nothing.
And then what? And then it takes you how long to get your first deal? And then what happens after that? It took me 7 months to get my first deal. So you didn't quit after 3 months?
No, I didn't quit. No, you don't quit after 3 months. And this is the craziest thing is when I first got my first deal, it actually came from somewhere I did not expect. You know how my coach was like, hey, go and spend all this money on messaging and all these softwares. And then at one point I ran out of money and I went on Facebook Marketplace. And I was like, dude, I was just messaging them on Facebook with my personal Facebook saying, hey, like, what do you think about, can I buy your house for you? I know you have it listed. And I look at all the houses on Facebook Marketplace that look a little distressed. And I had this homeowner, she had, I forget the exact number, but the house was like probably worth like 250,000, 260,000 if it was fixed up. And she had the house listed for 180, like right off the bat. And out of nowhere, I'm like, hey, like, would you take anything less than 180 that you have it listed for? And she was like, dude, just give me 155. I'm like, okay. And at that point I was like, okay, what's the formula? Okay, ARV minus 70% and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I was like, I feel like this is a good enough discount. So I like got the contract from, some online stuff and I send out the contract and it gets signed back. Right. And that's long story short, I ended up doing my very first deal off of Facebook Marketplace where I didn't even think to go to get my first deal. And when I went on Facebook Marketplace, there was not even not a competition at all. Nobody was doing, nobody was getting deals on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. And I'm like, this is like this. And that deal, the whole thing, it only took me like the day that I contacted the seller and the day that the day I got it under contract, it was like a day or two. I got it like right there and then 0 follow-ups. And that deal, I made like $1,300.
That's crazy. Okay, so I never heard that story. You got your first deal from Facebook Marketplace.
I got my first deal from Facebook Marketplace.
All right, editors, let's clip that one up. I like that one.
Yeah, yeah. No, I got my very first deal from Facebook Marketplace. It took me 7 months to get my very first deal. Yeah. And to get my second deal, it took me another 4 months, and then third deal, it took me like a couple more months. Mm-hmm. And the number one thing is the amount of time it takes for you to get your first deal is to second deal, third deal, it gets shorter and shorter. Mm-hmm. But it's just proof of concept. Once you clear that first block the first mental block in
yes,
it's like overabundance of deals. Mm-hmm. Now I seriously I think I can get a deal in the next 2 days if I really wanted to. But it took me 7 months to get my first deal, and 100 deals later to get my second deal, to get my 100th first deal, it will take me 2 days.
I love that. And it's so true because I had the same experience. 5 years analysis paralysis. I listened to thousands of hours of podcasts, Bigger Pockets, all these things, read dozens of books. Yeah. And then I put literally my pen to pad and actually wrote it out and said, here's what I'm committing to. Within 30 days, 35 days, I got my first house. Yeah. 5 years, 30 days, first house.
Wow.
Second house, 7 months. Why? Because I believed that I could not do it, and it's actually not that hard.
The first one is always the hardest.
If you're watching this, like, the man right here took him 7 months.
Took me 7 months, yeah.
Yeah, so guys, if you're on month 5 and you knock even thousands of doors, it's all good. Keep going.
Yeah, I remember going after, this was a few years ago, there was this really pretty girl, and I was like, dude, my friend was like, dude, just go and get her number. Yeah. I'm like, dude, there's no way I'm getting her number. There's absolutely no way. I would never do that in my entire life. Yeah. And I did it. I ended up not getting her number. Uh-huh. But I'm like, dude, like, I feel like I'm glad I didn't get her number because, like, now the rejection actually, I'd rather have that rejection of not getting the yes because it took me over my very first mental block. And the second girl, it's like, it's still hard.
Yeah.
But it's less hard. And then, but it's exact same analogy with deals. When I first did my first deal, 7 months, and now I can, 100+ deals later, I can get another deal in 2 days, like confidently.
I love that. Okay, so you get your first deal, and then you get 6 more deals that same year.
Yeah.
So you end at 7 the first year. And then when did the exponential growth happen? Because all of a sudden you're on Pace Morby's ads now.
Yeah.
And you're getting like, hey, I have a meetup in Cali because I'm randomly here on my way to somewhere else. Anyone wants to come out, and I'm seeing hundreds of people come out.
Right.
Like, okay, what happened between your end of year 1 and where you're at now?
So for me to really exponentially grow my business, I knew I needed to have other people help me along the way, right? So it can be your team. You spend more money on your marketing. You hire more people to make the calls for you. But what I really did that really exponentially grew my business was I actually gave away all the secrets, right? You know how earlier you said you give away the knowledge, but you sell on the implementation in the community.
Yeah.
I sold them on the implementation. So like I gave like the cold calling stuff. Like, yeah, I guess I could, cold calling videos I have on my YouTube, I could hold back on that and charge them for that, whatever, if people would ever pay. But what I did was I got when I was doing a lot of deals and taking over mortgage payments, I would give away the secret. So hey, this is the list that allowed me to get 3 SubTo deals this month, and then I'll give it away, help people along the way. And what happens is I now have army of different people going out and calling this list, and now they're coming to me for help. So now instead of me calling 10 agents, 20 agents in one day, I could give away the list for free, and now these people are calling 10 to 20 different agents every single day. But then I have like 10 different people that's calling. So effectively, if I'm calling 10 agents, I'm not calling 10 agents. I'm calling 10 wholesalers. I call 10 different agents. So my average is 100 instead of 10. So
that's so good.
So literally, and I did it very selflessly. I didn't tell them, hey, you need to, when you get a deal, you need to come to me. There's a lot of people that, I gave away the secret to. There's a lot of people that I gave away all my knowledge and everything. And they go and get their own deals and they buy themselves, whatever. And I never go up to them and say, well, hey, hey, John, you remember like 5 months ago when you asked me for help and I gave you the list and now you're doing all these deals yourself? I was never pity. I was like, just freely give away the secret. And so if I give away the secret to maybe 100 different people, 30, I'll say 30 people go and do their own deals and 70 people, come to you for help. So if I can capture those 70 different people, I feel like that's a win.
100%. I love that. And it's so true. Like, I've known you now for a little bit, and you do have a genuineness about you. It's not like it's premeditated, like, all right, if I help this person, then this will happen. Even today, you're like, hey, I got 2 spots in my car if anyone wants to go do a walkthrough. Yeah. I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah, like, amazing. Oh my God, you don't even know how many people responded to that. Yeah. So for those of you guys who are watching, I made a post on my Instagram story saying, hey, I'm going to buy a house and in Maricopa City, and if you guys want, if I'm taking 2 people on a ride along, and like these are the people that already reached out, and I haven't, obviously, and I responded to some of them already, but like I had over 25 people reach out in the span of like 3 or 4 hours. Yeah, and it's like, yes, I'm actually buying the house. Yes, I'm actually going to be keeping that house as rental. So like I actively do business, and I want people to learn from me. I want people to do deals with me. I think what's gonna happen is from that ride along, these people may or may not even want to do any more real estate deals with me. Like, oh, Kevin, you taught me everything I needed. I'm gonna go do my own deals. Perfect. But I'm just like, Pace taught me this. You just go out and plant all these seeds, serve other people, and maybe you reap 30% of what you sowed. And that 30%, if you get another deal out of that 30%, I think that's a win.
100%. I love that. Actually, let's stick on that. So, Pace, you've been in Pace's program now 3 years. When was Pace like something special about Kevin? I need Kevin to start coming out to these trips with me. I mean, you're everywhere with Pace. Right. How'd that relationship get built? Because I think why I ask this is because for me, if I'm looking for a coach or looking for a mentor, I don't want it to be just a transactional thing. And the coach and mentor doesn't want it either. They want to actually develop a relationship with you, become friends. And I think you've done that so beautifully with Pace. How'd that come about?
So I think I actually haven't asked Pace about this, why he takes me on, these trips and why he pushes me really hard. But I think what a lot of it has to do with, if you are a coach and if you're a mentor and you have a mentee that you're mentoring, and there's a significant difference in the mentor's mind behind, like, if I have John and James and I tell John, hey, go do X, Y, and Z, and John comes back to me saying, hey coach, I did X, Y, and Z, what's next? Versus James, James right here, he goes, hey coach, I actually didn't do the X, Y, and Z, but is there anything easier? Is there anything else you would recommend? Like, can I like hire somebody to do it? And when you coach somebody and they actually do exactly what you say and you come back to them, like, they want to help you even more. Because what I used to do early on in earlier days in my with Pace is Pace would tell me, hey Kevin, you need to do X, Y, and Z. Like, you need to cold call this seller and you need to go knock on 20 different foreclosure homes. And next week I'll come back and say, Pace, I did exactly what you told me, and these are my results. Am I in the right direction? And he would say, you're in the right direction. Keep going. And then I did exactly that. And now it's like, okay, this kid's actually serious. I tell him to do something, and he comes back and he comes back with results. So I think that's the biggest thing for most coaches and most mentors and most mentees.
Because at the end of the day, you have someone who has the result you want. They tell you to do something. 99% of those people won't actually even listen and take action. No. Especially take the action that is everything that they asked for their mentee to do. Right. So that's so good. I love that. Yeah. You can maybe think about this one. I have another question, but I want a funny Pace story. Because you guys have trips together. Actually, one of the funny stories, not really that funny, but it's crazy. Coming back from Puerto Rico. I see on my Instagram story that you're like in Atlanta, and I'm like, I have a layover in Atlanta. So I hit you up while I'm on the plane. I'm like, yo, where are you? Because you're like passed out with Pace on a bench. Like, what are they called?
There's benches at the airport.
At the airport. Yeah. So like, yo, I'll come find you for like the hangout while we're both waiting for our flights. And then you're walking into the plane. I'm like yelling out, hey, Kevin. Like, it's so random. And it's so cool seeing people just out and about while, you're traveling. Yeah. What's a funny Pace story on your travels? Because I know you probably got quite a few.
Funny. I feel like that was pretty funny. Like, like the guy that owns, thousands of doors, the guy that's worth millions and millions of dollars, the guy that has such a big following. And then this is like little kid me. We get our flight delay. So we're like literally on the corner of the airport, just like crouched up because it was so cold. We're just like we're just like sleeping there for like hours at a time. I thought that was pretty funny. And you were there to witness it.
That was that time?
Yeah, it was that time.
You were with him?
I was with him.
Oh, wait, you're talking about Pace, or you're talking about someone else that was with you guys?
No, it was Pace and me when
That's right. I remember Pace just had a hoodie on, exhausted. He looks back. He's like, I think he looked at me like, we're leaving. Kevin, please come. We've had a long day. Yeah. I can't imagine how you guys do it. Like, for me, one trip from Puerto Rico and back here, I'm like, I need a half a day of just shut down and relax.
Yeah. There's so many memories with him. It's hard for me to pinpoint one, but if I were to pinpoint one of them, it would be, it's so hard. Give me like 2 minutes.
Yeah, we'll come back to that one.
Yeah.
So where are you headed now? I know we talked off camera before the podcast, just kind of like where your mindset's at. What do you want to build? Fill me in. You're doing the content thing. Let's stay there. What is the content? What's the reason behind it? And what's your strategy to build this content? And also, I'm asking for myself because I'm trying to do the same.
Yeah. So I just came back from a social media conference, and I think one thing that I'm going to start implementing in my social media is podcasts, and you're doing a phenomenal job at it. Because when I was talking to my social media coach, he said, one thing that really helped me to get millions and millions of views is podcast. Right. And I was wondering, like, okay, that's so weird because, don't you want to go viral on Instagram and, get millions of views? And he says, well, at the end of the day, social media is cool for the views, but at the end of the day, you want to monetize, you want to have opportunities out of it. And the only way for people to get your trust is not with a 30-second reel where, not with a 30-second reel, but you really capture people's trust and attention when you have a podcast, because they're dating you for such a longer period of time. So one thing that I'm implementing in my business is starting a podcast, which I will start before the end of the year, and posting more reels. I know, I think reels is good to gain people's attention, but at the end of the day, you have to funnel people into something. And I think reels is a good way to capture the audience, and then podcast is for where you actually end up selling your products, like affiliates, or hey, I have this coaching product. So that's the end. That's my plan of action with my social media. I honestly don't know if I'm going in the right direction, but I just tell you exactly what we're talking about before. Is my coach said this, so I'm gonna go do it.
I love that. It's so true too. We don't know what we're doing.
I don't know what I'm doing.
We know how to take action.
Yeah, that's all we know.
We know how to take advice from someone that has what we want and then implement it and get it done, and then go back and say, hey, what do you think? Exactly. Are we off? All right, tell us where to get back on track.
Yeah, exactly.
What about different platforms? I mean, I'm asking you because you talk to the people you're paying quite a bit of money to. What platforms are they saying is the best right now? There's so many, man. I'm like, there's LinkedIn, which you can schedule posts. That's a little bit easier. Instagram, I guess there's different platforms and softwares where you can schedule it out, so you're not manually, posting content. Right. For me, bro, if I manually post content, I'm going to get distracted.
Oh, for sure.
I'm going to post content that should take me about 2 minutes, and then my Explore page will randomly pop up, and then I'm seeing, basketball, or I'm seeing Drake drop the new album. Like, well, now I got an hour and a half to listen to Drake's new album. It's just so hard to, stay focused when I'm constantly having to get on social media, post, and then get right off. Right. Do you have that struggle at all?
I struggle with that. And you know what? I know there's a platform out there where you can, make one post to that platform and they will post it for you. I'll probably start doing that. That's a phenomenal idea. But right now I'm really only focusing on my Instagram and YouTube. Like the way I see Instagram is they're going to, Instagram algorithm will sometimes, give you more boost than anybody else. So sometimes I'll get an audience from my Instagram and I'll funnel those people into my YouTube. Yeah. And then YouTube is where I have my longer form of contents where, I have 20-minute video of me cold calling, or I've, so that's what I want to do. I think that's my goal, or not my goal, but that's like my plan of action, at least for the next 3 months.
Yeah. I love it. It'd be fun. I just thought about this right now. I'm about to put you on the spot. Yeah. So I have a background in sales, right? So I have a little bit of advantage. I've talked on the phone before, but I think it'd be really fun if we just did teaching a newbie, because I've never done wholesale cold calling, and you just force me for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however long we want to do it, and just watch me fail.
Oh, that would be a great. That's a great.
That would be kind of funny, and I'm willing to do it. So I think that would be a fun.
Do you really want to do it? Because if you want to put yourself out there,
Because here's my thing, man. And my coach called me out on this. He's like, Jesse, you talk all about stepping out of your comfort zone. That's why you do these cold plunges. That's why door knock. Rain, that's how I bought this house, which that's a whole nother story. I literally knocked on every single door in the neighborhood. That's how I bought this house. Wow. So I always try to do stuff that gets me out of my comfort zone. But this last year, I haven't done as much. And so I'm like, what are little things that will be good content, but also get me out of my comfort zone? And that totally could.
That would be a good content. Yeah, we'll for sure do that. And I was going to talk about this because it's still work in progress. But, we're talking about, hey, I can go get my first deal in 2 days, right? Over 100 plus deals. It's easy for me to get a deal now. But what I want to do is I want to grab one person, and that person is full time. They've never done a deal. And I'm gonna pay somebody for this high quality video production, and we're gonna get them to do their very first deal. Number one, where do you even pull the list? What do you even say? Scripts. How do you even find the earnest money? How do you even do the paperwork? How do you even find the buyer? How do I even do the transaction coordination? I want to have all of that. I'm gonna take one person. They're gonna have to commit 30 days to me, and I'm going to literally, I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'll do it with you, so we can so I can help this person get their very first deal from day 1 to day 30, and it's all going to be documented. And I want it to be like an hour and a half to 2 hour documentary that I want to split up into 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, and I want to just post it on my YouTube. So when people see hey, cold calling is cool, but what do you do before cold calling? What do you do after cold calling? But I have everything outlined, and I'm not telling people what to do. I'm doing it with them. So that's something that I had in my mind, literally last night.
Yeah. gotta make that happen.
I gotta make it happen. Yeah. So it's gonna be like 90 minutes ish, and I'm just gonna, it's gonna be like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4.
One of what I'm gonna love about that, and what I love when people are so transparent, I think you do this a lot on your, content and channel, is you don't just document the highlights.
No.
I think that's something that we got to get back to, like showing what really happens.
Right.
Like even me, I had this leak last year. It cost me like $12,000. It sucked. I had to like redo my ceiling, but everyone's like, Jesse, you make such great money with these houses and cash flow. I'm like, you know what? Let me actually just show people also what happens with owning houses.
Right.
And so with your story about this documentary, you're going to show this guy probably sucking. Like you're going to suck at whatever you start for the first time.
Right.
And then slowly you're going to see that transition of, okay, you get better at this. Now he's got a house within 30 days, which is amazing.
Right.
But I love that, showing someone like failing in that, highlight that. Like you guys celebrate the failures when you get cussed out at the door in that group text.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be normalized because it looks so sexy on Instagram. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah. One of my most watched video on my YouTube it's called Failed Cold Calling. That's one of my most watched videos.
Yeah.
And the comments are like, dude, like I'm going through the exact same thing.
Yes.
And that's what I want to see, because for me, my big thing is like I want to be very authentic. Like when people hear Kevin Choe, I want them to think, okay, Kevin Choe is actually like, he actually fails a lot and he actually succeeds, a lot too. And I want that to be like what people think of me as, because there's so many people like out there that, like you said earlier, hey, like your bank account and your followers don't really match up. Mm-hmm. So I want to break that, and I want to say, hey, like literally going to the Maricopa house, bringing 2 random people and saying, hey, this is a house that I'm buying. I'm bringing the agent as well. Mm. So, and and it's, all that is going to be documented, and I'm going to post it on my YouTube like pretty raw. But yeah, what you said earlier about you cold calling, and like you're gonna fail through it, you're gonna get so red. You're gonna be like, this is so stupid. The way I said it, yeah. Like it's gonna be a good content.
Absolutely, I love that, man.
Yeah.
So talk to me. So we talked content. We kind of see the vision where you're going with that. What's the end goal of that? I know we talked about it before, but for the people listening, what is the end goal of creating this, online community that's not necessarily, a paid community, but it's an online community, people that watch your stuff?
I can't really say how far out I can, look at my goals, but I would definitely say one of my goals with my social media is, number 1, get deal flow, and number 2, get private money. So if people want to, lend me money, like I want to be able to have access to that. And number 3, I want to have access to, different people, right? So like, because you and I are already doing deals, and we are pretty connected with everybody here in Arizona. Now we have a friendship. Like I want more friendships from social media. I want more business opportunities, right? Like you look at my business, a lot of my business actually comes from social media because I'm so loud about it. So, not even real estate opportunities, but any other business opportunities outside of that, I would love to get that through social media. But, I think that's for now, that's as far as I can see. I think that's like 6 to 12 month goal.
I love it. Okay. What about houses? You just got, how many houses do you own now? Just off of this 1 year? 10? 10 houses. And then how many are midterm rental? How many are something else?
Everything is midterm rental.
Everything midterm rental. Talk to us a little bit about midterm rentals. I'm familiar. Jesse Vasquez, he's a great guy out here that's doing a lot of midterm rentals.
Right.
You guys furnish it. Kind of break down what exactly is a midterm rental.
So midterm rental is way for you to rent out your house, but it's a hybrid, right? It's a hybrid of people that rent out your house long term. So if you're a tenant and you have a 12-month lease, you're considered a long-term tenant. If you're going out on the weekends and you book this Airbnb for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that's called a short-term rental. And midterm rental is a hybrid of that. So like our typical leases are 3 to 6 months. And the type of clients that we serve are nurses, right? So we had a nurse in this house, and typical nurse, travel nurses, their average assignments are about 13 weeks. So now would they go find would they get a 12-month rent lease agreement with the homeowner when you're only going to be in town for 13 weeks? Or do you want to pay really, really high amounts for 13 weeks? No, you want to. And so midterm rental is a hybrid of the long term and the short term. And we have in our houses, we have a lot of startups. So a lot of startups come here for 3 to 6 months. We have a lot of nurses. We have a lot of people, snowbirds too. We have a lot of snowbirds, and all sorts of clients.
What's like the perfect square footage, maybe, or maybe even more so, bedroom bathroom ratio that you've seen that attracts a great premium for midterm rentals?
I think 1 bedroom, 1 bath.
That's the best.
Yeah,
midterm.
yeah.
So usually it's a someone coming out
Solo. Yeah, it's not that they don't get a whole family.
Yeah.
And I say 1 bedroom, 1 bath because the what we charge for 1 bedroom, 1 bath is not much higher than what we charge for 2 bedroom, 1 bath. Right. So like right now we have a 1 bedroom, 1 bath that's renting out for $1850 out in Tampa. We also have a 2 bedroom, 1 bath that we rent out for I think $2,100. So if I'd rather get 1 bedroom, 1 bath that's smaller that pays $1850 than 2 bedroom, 1 bath. Now when there's turnover, I got extra room that I gotta take over. But then they only really pay me like $200 more, $300 more.
What about this $13,000 a month?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, walk me through that one. So this is a like 4-bedroom house.
Yeah. So I have a $13,000 booking on my
$13,000 per month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but it's for 2 months. It's a 2-month booking.
Oh, $13,000 for 2 months. So
Yeah.
that's what, $750. My math's.
No. It's sorry, $13,000 a month. So it's $26,000 booking.
It's $26,000
Yeah.
for 2 months.
Yeah. So I went to the house yesterday.
Yeah.
So my house, when I moved out of my house, I said, okay, let me put this up on Airbnb. And there's this company that booked it, didn't even negotiate on the price. They said, they booked it out for 58 days, around 26,000 and some change. And I'm like, what kind of idiot would even pay this price? And I come to find out, so these are construction companies, and they have a specialized skill in their niche. I don't exactly know what they do or where they work at, but I come to find out this construction company got hired out by another project management company to do like a certain certain project on their project, and they paid $13,000 a month, and it's not even that big it's not even that nice of a house. It's literally a 4-bed, 2-bath. I was living in it. It was clean. It's nothing special. It's not like it's in Scottsdale. It was just regular neighborhood, but we just happened to find the right tenant. So, but they're moving out, so I'm a little bummed out.
They moved out early?
They're moving out in about 3 more weeks.
Oh, so it's already been those 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even, I'll throw a little something in there that's a little extra to help with finding tenants. If you connect with these companies, but also look where areas of growth are in your state. Right. So Intel.
Yeah.
They have massive expansion going on right now. You connect with those contractors, connect with those traveling workers. That's another big way that you can get a lot of great tenants. Yeah. That will pay a premium because they're only going to be out here for so long. Yeah. So, TSMC or whatever that semiconductor chip manufacturer, look at houses around there because, they're going to be a 5-year project. Yeah. So that's what I've been doing. I've been connecting a lot with like people that know where the development's going in the state. Whereas, Meta, having their big office, Mesa. And so I'm looking in different areas and then knowing like, okay, who do I need to connect with to then become like the preferred housing lender for those people? Yeah, you want to be a preferred housing lender. So what we did was we come to find out that construction company, they hired a third-party company to find them a house. So like that construction company didn't reach out to us directly. They went to hire another company and they found us on Airbnb. I don't know why they didn't go directly to Airbnb. I don't know. I don't have the answers to that. But you're okay with it. I'm 100% okay with it. But so now what we did was we called that relocation third party company and say, hey, we have other properties in this neighborhood. We would love to be your preferred vendor for your housing for your clients. And now we have that relationship built. So next time they have another company reaches out to them for booking, because I have a existing relationship with them and they and the tenants had a good time, they're gonna say, hey Kevin, oh, you're looking for a house? Okay, I know a friend of mine, Kevin, he has a couple houses in the area, you should rent out his house, and they make the connection. And I say I just literally this morning I signed a $5,000 a month for my house, like a midterm tenant. So I didn't get they didn't renew, and I don't get the $13,000 a month anymore. I get $5,000, but still that's twice more than what I could have gotten on a traditional rental. And that was from the same company? It was a different company. Okay. Yeah. Are you going through like what are they called? Insurance? Insurance companies? Yeah. What is it called? I mean, there's like, are you talking about ALE Solutions? Yeah. What is that like? what are they called?
Like relocation?
Yeah, relocation companies.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a full-time VA, and their job is to connect with these relocation companies.
So smart.
Yeah.
Love it. So what's your goal, man? You got 10 houses now. How many more houses by the end of the year?
End of the year? We got how many? We got 6 weeks left of the year?
About 6 weeks. Yeah, we got some, holidays coming up, so it might be a little bit more difficult. But
I'd be happy to finish off with, one more, two more. Because, the turnaround time for, houses, like we got to buy, we got to furnish it, we got to find the tenants. So I don't want to over leverage, but, I think if we can finish off the year with two more, and I can finish off the year with 12 houses, I think I'm pretty happy with that. And next year I want to try to hit 24 houses. 24 single family houses.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And your goal to get there, you already have the team in place. What about how are you coming up with the money to be able to get these houses, furnish it, and even if you have like an estimated, how much for a SubTo deal do you have to bring to the table? Maybe rehab costs, acquisition, entry fee, whatever, and then furnishing. How much does it usually cost for you to actually put up money to get into the house?
For one deal, the entire amount, it's usually cost me around 40 to 45,000. Yeah, so to buy the house, it's usually less than 20,000, and then we furnish it ourselves. So we don't hire it out. So we probably around $9,000 to $10,000 on furnishing, and then a couple months of holding cost and little repairs here and there. I would say $40,000 to $45,000 per house. So if you guys got money, I'll be happy to take your money.
And is that something that you do? So are you coming up with all of this? Or you're like, hey, I'm the one that finds the deals. I know how to do this. I bring in a private money lender, and then that's pretty much how it usually works for your acquisitions of homes? Yeah,
well, I do all of the acquisitions. So like I'm the one responsible for building relationship with these people that have deals, and sometimes we get deals ourselves from our in-house team. And once I find the house, I find the private money. So once I find the deal and I bring in the private money lender to this deal, I clump it up together and I say, hey, partner, I have a partner in my midterm rental business. I gotta get you guys connected. And I say, hey, I got the deal, I got the money. Here's a project, and go work on it. And she loves doing that. She's like, I don't want to talk to anybody. Don't even call me. Don't even text me. I just want to go. You just give me a project, and I get fit, and I'm partnered with you on the deal, and I'll go find the tenants, everything.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back to the Pace's funding story. We have that yet, but if not, we have another question that I think is a really good question because people don't talk about it. What is your biggest learning lesson? And it could be a huge financial mistake or learning lesson that you've had in the past couple of years while doing, real estate transactions.
If anything, it will be not raising the money early enough, right? So a lot of people, and I still make this mistake. Like I still don't even know who's gonna fund my house to the Maricopa house tomorrow. And the thing is, a lot of people say, I'm just gonna raise the money later down the road. I'm gonna raise the money once I whatever. But I think you raise the money before you even have the deal, because who knows if you get a deal today and you have to close on that house in about a week. Do you have do you have a lender that's gonna fund that deal within a week? Because most people, if you're first starting out, you may or may not. But so always have the money lined up before you even have the deal. Yeah, still to this day, I make that mistake.
How are you going to change that to make it so you have the money lined up beforehand?
I'm going to have a list of people that are lenders and make sure. So I'm like, right now, the list that I'm building, and I talked to you about this earlier, is I'm going to be building my own list of people that have at least $50,000 or more, and that would like to lend me the money. And once it's organized list and I have a deal ready to go, I'm just going to go down that list and say, hey, Jonathan, I know you reached out to me, 2 months ago saying you have 50 grand that you want to lend. I have this project. And now if I have a list of, 30, 40, 50, like going through, I probably want you to go through maybe 6 or 7 of them for me to actually find that $50,000. So being more organized with my lenders.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What's changed? I know for me, sometimes things change, people change around me. Even if it's just how would I say this? People sometimes see success and start changing around you. Friends, family. Have you had that happen?
In a good way, yes.
Yeah.
When I first got into real estate, I had, coming from an immigrant family, and I grew up with my mom and my sister and here in a foreign country. like I had so many backlashes. He said, hey, like, you know, your mom worked so hard. She worked at restaurants, after restaurants, for you to, you know, live in this country. And now and your sister went to UCLA and you're going to drop out of college. And I had to fight off so many people in my family to get into, to stick with real estate. And what changed for me was, you know, when I started doing deals and I started making money and I started being on social media, people will come to me and say, you know, I mean, like people in my family will come to me and say, hey, I'm so glad I knew you could make it out in the real estate industry. I'm glad you didn't go back to school. And now it's like they praise what I do. Yeah. You know, they are very supportive of what I do. And, you know, that's the only thing that changed. You know, they don't ask me for money. They still love me the same. Yeah.
How hard was that? Because I definitely went through that period in my life where I was the outcast. You know, I went from going out, partying, drinking, and then realizing like, oh, shoot, something's got to change. I got to grow up. I got to, you know, I want to do more in my life, start diving into personal development. How was that transition for someone out there right now who has that friend circle, they have that friend group, and how do you deal with that? I know I had a certain way to deal with it, but how do you deal with that where you're like, hey, I got to not hang out with you guys as much because I'm headed for something different. Yeah. It's not like I don't have bad friends. I still love my day one friends. Right. But I'm going a different direction.
I think there was an Alex Hormozy video that I watched this morning. So funny you ask, because he says there's a phase that everybody goes through when you're going through when you're getting into entrepreneurship, and it's a phase where nobody's there for you. You don't have any money, and you know, nobody's there to support you, and you don't even know if you're going in the right direction. And you have that phase. All entrepreneurs have. You had it. I had it. And I think that's just inevitable. Like I don't even think it's good advice for me to say this is how you deal with it, because you don't. Like I think the best way for you to go through that lonely phase is you just kind of go through it. Because now that I look back, and I'm sure, I don't know about you, but when I look back at that you know, a year and a half that I had where nobody was supporting me and I was barely, you know, getting my traction in my business, I actually cherish that. I actually look back and I'm like, I'm so glad I went through it. I'm so glad I didn't stay there. So my opinion is, my thought is, you just kind of have to kind of deal with it. Yeah. and just know that in about a year or two, you look back and you're gonna think, I'm so glad I did that.
Let me paint the picture, because I want you to paint the picture of what that looked like for you. Okay. For me, I was in a studio apartment. Okay. I had a laptop on my island. My studio apartment, it was a decent area, but you can look 360 and you see the whole place. It's probably 300 square feet. Okay. Wasn't big at all. I had a couch. I had a TV in the corner that I never turned on, and I had nothing on the walls, and I had my bed, not a bed, it was a mattress on the floor. Okay. And that was because I didn't want to get comfortable. Mm-hmm. I wanted to like just embrace the suck, embrace the fact that right now, this season of my life, I'm grinding. Mm-hmm. And that's all I'm focused on. Right. Was it lonely? Yeah. But was it worth it? 100%. Yeah. What was that like for you?
It was actually when I moved out of my parents' house and I was living in my 1-bedroom apartment just about 2 years ago. Mm. Didn't have any money. Spent a lot of money on just like moving expenses, right? And first time moving out to Phoenix, and I'm like, at this point, I've done at least 10 deals, but I never really. But the deals were so small, I didn't even have a lot of money saved up. I was like, the first few months, I was like paying rent with my credit card. Because I literally didn't have money. Like I think I had like maybe like $2,000, but I knew like if I spent that $2,000 of my own money and pay the rent, like I would have literally like $300 left. Yeah. So I put it on my credit card and I buy myself like 30 days or 40 days. And sometimes there are times where I like pay the late fees and whatnot, but man, I'm glad I went through it. I would not tell anybody to not go through that. Yeah. Because that's when I was really, really hungry. I was like really driven. Mm-hmm. Because right now, I would say I'm a little bit more comfortable than I was, 6, 12, 18 months ago, just like financially. But like I remember like that when I first moved out, like I was no, this is no joke. I was probably working 12, 14 hours a day and like actual work, not like fooling around on my phone. I was probably working like 16 hours a day and I was putting in, 10 to 12 hours worth of work. And I'm like, I'm so glad that I'll be out of it. One advice that I would give you is this is what I did was I would record myself where I'll do like a voice recording on my phone, say and talk about how tough it is. That's what I used to do. Say, oh my gosh, dude, like I literally have, I don't have any deal that I'm working on right now, and I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this. I don't know if I'm gonna get out of it. So what I'm gonna do, but I'm just making this video because, who knows, maybe in 12 months from now this will get better. And I have many videos like that. I haven't shared it with my social media, but I think I should. But keep track of the times that you like record yourself talking to yourself, to your future self, of how tough it is, because you at the end of the day you make out of it.
Man, I love that. And I even think that can be motivation looking back, being like, especially when you get in a place, and I've been like this last year where I got comfortable. I'm like, I don't gotta work, right. But I'm ambitious, so I want to make more money. I want to help more people. But looking back at that video and being like, I feel that now. I feel that hunger and the desire that I had.
Right.
And to like put yourself back in that position.
Right.
To get back after it. I think that's really cool. For me, it was journaling. One of my coaches was like, you got to journal. I've gotten away from it. I need to go back. But now I'm going back when I have a lack of desire or I feel complacent or comfortable. I go back and read my journal entries. I'm like, dang, I got to tap back into that hunger.
Right.
And it's just amazing to see also, like you're saying, where I was and how much can change literally in 12 months.
Right. Not even 12 months is a long time if you really think about it. Like I think if your life can start taking a turn 3 months from now. Mm-hmm. There was that point in my life, in my career, where I think it was like this January, like I was so broke. Like this was 10 months ago, and I started doing deals with my with the SubTo stuff, and January I like paid off all my credit stuff, and now it's like. It took me maybe 4 months, 4 months to actually start getting so much traction in my business. And I don't give yourself 12 months. I think 12 months is way too long for you to take your life and turn it around. Mm-hmm. Give yourself like 3 months, 3 to 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Condense it. If you can't condense it. And how do you do that? Through a coach, through following people like you, man.
Right.
I think one thing I want to touch on, because it fits so much with our audience, is delayed gratification.
Right.
And I don't know how much that's played a role in your life, but for me, I was working in sales, had a $42,000 base salary, made a bunch more in commissions. Mm-hmm. But my mindset was, don't use your commissions. Save every single commission dollar, live off of that $42K lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And I did that for years.
Like how long?
Like I went from making about $60,000 the first year with salary plus commissions, all the way up to about $200,000 before I quit, and I had these houses and had rental income. But yeah, man, I lived off of maybe my top lifestyle creep was $60,000 when I was making almost $200,000.
Wow.
So for me, that was huge, because what I do with all that money, I ended up saving it. I had literally $100K just sitting in my bank, knowing that I'm going to do some kind of investment. I don't know. Mm-hmm. That's when I got into real estate. That was the only way at the time. I didn't know about creative finance. So I used that $100K to buy the house down the street and this house. Mm-hmm. That led me to be able to become financially independent from that $100K that I saved up those 5 years. Right. So what about you, man? I mean, I know you live, like you said, you just started making a lot of money this year. Right. But has that played into your mindset? Like, okay, I'm making, so much money. I'm going to now upgrade my lifestyle to match how much money I'm making? Or you're like, no, I'm going to still live here?
I mean, my lifestyle has definitely gotten way better, right? Like, I mean, I drive, nicer car. I live in I moved back into my apartment yesterday, paying, $2,100 but I bought my own house. There's, obviously, like, it's the lifestyle creep. It's so, it's inevitable. Like, you will always live, you will go out to eat a lot more. You get Diet Coke without knowing that it's gonna be $3 more. You get guacamole at Chipotle. Like, I do that.
Yo, I'm gonna say I felt like I made it when I literally just walked through Chipotle and they say guac. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the price. I used to look at the price every time and like do math in my head. Like, $350.
$350.
That's like almost the cost of how much the meat costs in this. I can't do it.
I literally no. This is 2 months ago. 2 months, I walk into Chipotle. I'm like, dude, I'm not even gonna get chicken anymore. I'm gonna get steak.
Yo, you upgraded the steak.
I upgraded the steak.
I don't know if I've got there. I still do the chicken, double chicken, but I don't know if I've done steak yet.
So I got steak and I got the guacamole, and it ended up being like, you know, $15-$16. I'm like, all right, whatever, you know, like. But that's besides the point. But your question was, okay, like, how do you like? Do I spend more money?
How do you deal with lifestyle creep and like delayed gratification in the sense of you're making more money, you want to like, I mean, I guess you're a little bit different because you're using all your money on assets that produce.
Right.
So outside of your investments, your assets, what do you spend money on? And are you now like, oh, now I got all this extra money, I'm going to live now a way bigger lifestyle? Or are you still going to be like, nah, I'm still going to maintain?
No, I think most of I spend a lot of money on food, and it's not even like I go out and, you know, I get Chipotle every day, like a steak and guac, but I go out and I build relationship with people. So for me, like when I go out to eat with people, usually I pay. Yeah. You know, knowing that, hey, like, because I know a couple of my private money lenders like gave me 50, 60 grand.
I'll buy you a $50 steak.
I'll take you out to dinner, and, you know, it's $100, whatever, and, you know. But then who knows when that relationship will eventually nurture. So like for me, you know, yeah, going out and paying for somebody else's food is good because I know I'll eventually get that. I know I'll eventually, you know, see a return on that.
So you can't even say that's part of like a lifestyle creep. I feel like that's just an investment.
Really? I did buy Audi.
Okay.
The payment was like $800.
Yeah.
So
SubTo it?
No, I bought it traditionally.
You did something traditional?
No, yeah, that's not traditional.
Pace so much.
I don't know. I travel a lot more.
Yeah.
I travel a lot more. I mean, I bet like you're telling me earlier today, like I'm like never here.
The fact that we got him to sit down right now is unbelievable. I appreciate it, Kevin.
Yeah. I've been to 25 different states this year alone in 2023. And I travel a lot and I meet different people, and it's, you know, I went to Philly for the first time. I went to New York 2 weeks ago. That was for personal travels. But I don't know. I don't think I really have a lifestyle creep. Like I bought some nicer clothes, but they're not like much nicer. This is like, you know, $40. This is like maybe $60.
You must have like good material. Okay.
Oh yeah. So I don't know. It's hard for me to, but then I spend a lot of money on like building my team. So like that's not even a lifestyle creep. That's just like building your team, building your business. So like my lifestyle creep, I don't really have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I felt like that's how you portray yourself, and I think that's how you are. So I think a lot of people, they make, you know, over $250,000, and all of a sudden they're Gucci'd out or, you know, got all this stuff. No. And I'm like, I'm a simple guy.
I'm a simple guy. I don't go out to drink.
Yeah.
Well, if I go out, like I'll drink, but I don't go out of my way to drink or party. I don't buy designer clothes. I drive a nicer car just because I like it, but it was also a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the lifestyle creep, I really don't think I have it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, everything in my life is a business. Everything really has to do with business. So I want to say it's a lifestyle creep.
So last two questions I have. One, what is something that the audience, myself, people watching can potentially help you with? I know you mentioned private money lenders.
Right.
What else? Is there anything else?
I mean, so to help with my business is number one is more money to more private money lenders and more deal flow. And at the end of the day, I just want people to subscribe to my YouTube. You know, I know I'm going to put out really good contents out there. I know I'm going to, you know, spend a lot of money on my YouTube. So if, you know, eventually if you guys subscribe to my YouTube, that's really all I ask for, because knowing, you know, I'll put out good content, you guys will learn a lot, and maybe eventually we'll do deals, you know, a few years down the road or a few months down the road. You know, I'm not asking for them to like sell me their house, nothing like that. But
you'll take some deal flow. Yes.
I will take some deal flow. So, but as simple as subscribing to my YouTube it would mean the world to me. Yeah.
So tell them, how do people find you? Instagram, YouTube?
Instagram and YouTube is Kevin Choe 12. Kevin Choe 12.
Kevin Choe 12.
Yep.
And I'm going to ask you because it's going to help, you know, set a commitment between us.
Yeah.
We're going to do the wholesale cold calling.
Okay.
That'll be one of the content pieces we put out. And then we're going to do a part 2 because people are going to ask me questions.
Yes.
And they're going to be like, we need Kevin back because I want to dive deeper into this or that. I think this was a great first podcast.
Right.
And you're here in Arizona, so we're going to start kicking it more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll do that. And we'll embarrass you in front of all the YouTube people. Jesse has never cold called, and it's going to be so bad, but it's going to be so fun.
It's going to be fun. You'll be like, oh, this guy was #1 in corporate sales for his company. No,
yeah.
We can't tell.
Yeah. But I think that's the content that a lot of people like to see, raw content.
Absolutely.
Post some losses and, that's good for me.
We're all taking L's.
We're all taking L's.
Just, get you closer to the dub. And Kevin, I'm proud of you, man. You've been just crushing it this year. It's been cool actually developing a friendship between you.
Yeah.
And also, man, this is one of the most humble, just genuine guys. So appreciate you coming through for the podcast.
Thank you.
TheJesseRay with the Growth House podcast. Here with my man, Kevin Choe. We're out.
Bye.